There's a boy who stares at his reflection every morning. He looks into the mirror not just to fix his hair or inspect his face, but in search of something deeper. He wants to see himself, truly see himself. Not the version he's been taught to display, not the one edited by expectations, but the real end. But no matter how long he looks, there's always a fog, a strange distance between what he feels inside and what the world tells him he is. And he is not alone. We live our lives looking through a mirror we cannot fully see. We walk around in a body we think we know, with a mind we think we control, and a soul we believe we understand. Yet, to everyone around us we are someone else entirely. Some see kindness in us we never noticed. Some see fear we try to hide. Some love us for the things we hate about ourselves. And some misunderstand us despite our best efforts to be clear. There is a quiet, haunting truth about life. You will never know yourself the way others do. And that's not a weakness. It's a mystery worth exploring. This is a journey into that mystery, into the invisible gap between who you think you are and who others believe you to be. A journey through memory, identity, perception, and the elusive truth about the self. Welcome to Innerverse. Have you ever stared at an old photo of yourself and thought, was that really me? Not just because your face looked different or your smile more innocent, but because there's a whole person in that picture you no longer recognize. A version of you that once laughed a little louder, worried a little less, or maybe hurt far more than you ever let on. We carry so many versions of ourselves inside us. The child who dreamed endlessly, the teenager who rebelled loudly, the adult who pretended to have it all figured out. But when someone else looks at your photo, they see something else entirely. They might say, "You looked so confident there," while you remember trembling inside. They might see a beautiful face, while you remember only the acting, the anxiety, the heartbreak behind the eyes. And just like that, you're reminded, the version of you that lives in someone else's mind is built on moments you may not even recall. That's the strange part of being human. You can spend your whole life trying to define yourself, but every single person you meet builds their own idea of who you are based not on your truth, but on their perception of it. And often, their version of you is as real to them as yours is to you. You become the polite girl, the angry guy, the overachiever, the shy one, the flirt, the leader, the liar, the kind soul, the one who talks too much, the one who doesn't talk enough. All true, all false, all pieces of a mirror broken into 1,000 perspectives. We all wear masks, not because we're fake, but because life teaches us to hide the most fragile parts of ourselves. We laugh in public when we feel empty. We act strong when we feel like crumbling. We nod and smile even when the words sting. And over time, the mask becomes familiar. You wake up, wear your name, wear your smile, wear your voice, but you forget which parts are truly yours and which parts you invented to survive. What's wild is that sometimes others can see through the mask better than you can. They catch the way your eyes drift when you're anxious. They hear the cracks in your voice when you lie and don't know why. They sense when your confidence is actually insecurity in disguise. And they may love you not for the person you try to be, but for the person you accidentally let slip through the cracks. You think you're fooling the world, but in truth, the world is always reading you in ways you'll never fully understand. There's a reason strangers can sometimes say something that hits you so deeply, it rattles your soul, because in a moment they saw you, not the polished version, not the practiced mask, but you. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most terrifying and beautiful part of being alive. You will never know the full story that others write about you, and yet, those stories shape who you become. You walk out of a room, and something lingers. It's not your scent, not your footsteps. It's your energy, your presence, the echo of who you were in that space. And the people who were in that room, they felt it, they carry it with them. In a glance, in a sentence you casually dropped but meant the world to them. In the way you laughed when they needed to remember what joy sounds like. You, just being you, altered their atmosphere. But you probably didn't even notice. That's the haunting beauty of human connection. We never quite know the gravity of our own presence. You might think you're forgettable, ordinary, but someone somewhere remembers the way you made them feel on a day they wanted to disappear. You may have walked into a stranger's life and accidentally planted a seed of hope. You may have made someone feel seen just by listening, yet you'll never fully know, because we don't get to witness the full ripple of our actions. We don't get to read the chapters we've helped write in someone else's story. And maybe that's okay. Maybe the most profound parts of who we are exist in the invisible spaces, in the echoes after we leave, in the warmth we leave behind, in the quiet miracles we never realize we've given. Sometimes, someone will look at you and say something that stops you cold. You're so wise. You're so calm. You always know what to say. And you look back, confused, because internally you feel lost, tired, and certain. You don't feel like the person they're describing, but in their eyes, you are. In their experience, you were. There's something powerful in realizing this. People don't see you as you see yourself. They see you as you've shown up for them. You might define yourself by your flaws, your regrets, your mistakes, your private failures, but someone else is defining you by the time you showed up when it mattered, by the way your voice softened when they cried, by the strength you gave them when they had none. We are not only the sum of our inner monologue, we are mosaics shaped by our interactions, stitched together by perspective, love, misunderstanding, and memory. Sometimes, to truly meet yourself, you need to see your reflection not in a mirror, but in someone else's eyes, not to believe everything they say about you, but to remember that you are not as invisible, as broken, or as unworthy as your darkest thoughts claim. You are felt in ways you'll never fully comprehend, and maybe, just maybe, that means you're already more real, more meaningful, and more beautiful than you've dared to believe. There are moments when people watch you quietly. They notice the way your hands tremble slightly when you're anxious, the way your voice softens when you talk about someone you love, the way you look away when you're holding back tears, pretending you're fine, and yet they say nothing, not because they don't care, but because the world has trained us to keep quiet, to stay polite, to respect the walls we think others want up. So they hold those observations in silence, carrying pieces of you that you never even knew you shared. There's someone who remembers that time you gave up your seat, someone who remembers the way you spoke up when it was hard, someone who remembers the sadness in your eyes when no one else was paying attention, and they never told you. You walk around thinking you are unseen, unheard, unloved, but the truth is you've been witnessed in quiet, sacred ways, and maybe that's the tragedy and the miracle of life. We're more noticed than we believe, but rarely in the moments we expect. You may never hear the compliments you deserve. You may never know how deeply your existence mattered to someone, but that doesn't make it any less true. The world is watching softly, silently, lovingly, and though it may never say it out loud, it feels you, it remembers you. There's a version of you that only exists in the minds of others, a version built from glances, laughs, wounds, and kindness, a version edited by time and tinted by emotion. You don't control that version. You don't even get to read it, but it exists. You are a story being told in other people's minds, a memory wrapped in their personal history, a sentence in their novel, a highlight in their storm, a whisper in their quiet moments. And some of those versions of you are beautiful, so beautiful that someone still thinks of you when they need hope. Someone still quotes you when giving advice. Someone still holds your name like a secret prayer. You may never live long enough to meet all the versions of yourself that live in others, but you should know this. You are bigger than your self-image. You are wider than your reflection. You are more layered, more complex, more meaningful than you will ever fully comprehend. You are written in others, and that means that even on the days you feel lost or small or insignificant, your existence is still echoing in places you've already left behind. You are already more unforgettable than you know. You try so hard to be enough, to say the right things, to fix your flaws, to be successful, attractive, smart, composed, whatever the world seems to demand this week. But here's the quiet truth. People don't fall in love with your perfection. They fall in love with your presence. They remember your awkward laugh, not your resume. They remember how safe they felt sitting beside you, not the number of followers you had. They remember the night you stayed up with them when they were falling apart. They remember the way your eyes lit up when you talked about something that mattered. They remember that time you failed and still kept going. You think you're remembered for your highlights, but it's your humanity that stays. It's your gentleness in conflict, your patience in pain, your willingness to be there imperfectly, vulnerably, honestly. The ones who love you don't need you to be flawless. They need you to be real. So stop chasing the impossible mask of being enough. You already are. You already were. And the people who matter, the ones who see you beyond your curated life, they remember the real you, the messy, soft, trying you. And to them, that was always more than enough. It's a chilling thought, isn't it, that you will leave this earth never having met the full, unfiltered version of yourself, not because you failed, but because self-knowledge is like chasing your own shadow. Always just ahead, always slightly out of reach. You will die with songs still inside you, with parts of you only your childhood self knew, with scars only the mirror saw, with dreams you didn't tell anyone because you didn't want them to laugh. There are versions of you that only existed in private moments. The you who wept quietly on the bathroom floor, the you who danced in the kitchen when no one was home, the you who gave up and then stood up again anyway. And no one, not even your closest friend, not even the love of your life, will ever fully know all of it. Just like you will never fully grasp how someone else has experienced you. And maybe that's what makes life so achingly beautiful. We are not puzzles to be solved. We are mysteries to be witnessed, living, evolving, breaking, blooming. So know you will never fully know yourself the way others do. And they will never fully know you the way you know yourself. And in that in-between, between your self-image and their perception, is where humanity lives, is where connection happens, is where love breathes, not in certainty, but in the sacred, shimmering space of almost understanding. Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is telling a story that includes you. Maybe it's something small, the way you smiled at them when they were having a bad day, the way your words once pierced through their doubt, the way you made them feel less alone when they didn't even know how to ask for help. And you'll never know. You'll never hear it. You'll never be tagged in it. You'll never get credit for it. But it lives. It breathes. It matters. You are a character in someone else's defining moment. And isn't that wild? You think your impact is measured by applause or acknowledgement. But the truth is, your truest influence is often silent. It lives in heartbeats you helped steady, in confidence you helped build, in peace you helped restore without realizing it. There are memories out there, folded inside people's hearts, where you are the warm light in a dark chapter. You might never know the lives you've touched, but that doesn't mean you haven't changed them. Sometimes your greatest legacy is invisible, but permanent. You are not a single sentence. Not a paragraph, not even a chapter. You are a story long, tangled, beautiful, unfinished. But no one, not even you, will ever get to read the whole thing. People come in at different pages. Some start at your beginning and fade before the middle. Some walk in halfway through and stay until the very end. Others only get a glimpse, a single scene, and still feel forever changed. And each of them walks away with a different interpretation. Some will think you were a tragedy, some a comedy, some a love story, some a storm, but none of them, including you, will ever hold the whole truth, because you are still being written. Every breath is a sentence. Every choice is a comma or a full stop. Every heartbreak adds depth. Every joy adds light. And maybe that's the point. You were never meant to be fully known, not by them, not even by yourself, because your story is not meant to be solved. It's meant to be felt, lived, shared in fragments, and remembered in pieces by the people who were lucky enough to catch even a single page. So keep writing, even if no one ever reads it all, even if you never make full sense of it, because you are the most sacred kind of story, the kind that's real, the kind that's messy, the kind that just by existing already means something. If there's one thing to take from this journey, it's this: you are not here to perfectly understand yourself. You're here to compassionately witness yourself, to be curious about the mystery you are, to accept the paradoxes, strong and scared, loving and lonely, whole and healing. In The Untethered Soul by 𒒏𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂💐, he writes, "There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it. You are not your thoughts about yourself. You are the awareness beneath them. And that awareness, that witnessing presence, it's already enough." In Braving the Wilderness by Brené Brown, she reminds us, true belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. Even if others see a version of you that feels foreign, even if you never quite figure out who you are completely, you still belong as you are, unfinished and evolving. And in Letters to a Young Poet by Rainer Maria Rilke, he offers this timeless wisdom: be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves. You will never see yourself the way others do, and they will never know you in the way you know yourself. But that's not a flaw, it's a feature of being human. So let that mystery be sacred. Let it humble you, let it soften you, because maybe the point isn't to solve yourself. Maybe it's to show up for your life anyway, with kindness, with courage, and with wonder. If this video touched something deep inside you, don't let it stop here. Pause, breathe, think of the person you've been lately and the one you're becoming. Then ask yourself, what version of me am I offering to the world today? And can I offer it with just a little more grace? If this message stirred something in your soul, consider subscribing to Untethered, where we explored the emotional depth, quiet battles, and invisible victories of the human spirit. Leave a comment and tell me what's something someone once noticed about you that surprised you. Your story might be the reminder someone else needs right now. And if no one has told you lately, you are already more than enough, exactly as you are, even in the parts you don't yet understand. See you in the next one.